is Emelian, and welcome to another Is It Worth the Gold video. Today we are looking at the IS-6, the Russian Tier 8 Premium, regarded for most people as the best Tier 8 Premium, and I completely agree with it. So the question, is it worth the gold, is completely unnecessary, and of course, fuck yeah, it is worth the grind, the gold. Let's just look how good this tank is. So first of all, this is a nightmare for everything below tier 8 to shoot at. You pretty much get around 160, 170 to 200 armor all around this tank when you're not angling, when you're not really trying. So whenever you have less than 180, 190, 200 pen, you will struggle to pen this tank all the time. And it's obviously you can load gold, but even then the tank has so much roll armor. The lower plate, for instance, 120 armor, better armor value than the upper plate, and it's angled better than the upper plate. Weak spots, bro, I know how they work. The weakest parts of the tank is the turret. It is 150, but at parts it's quite flat, and the gun mantlet is disappointing at places as well. Right next to the gun, where the gun mantlet is, this zone has no armor behind it, so it is quite thin, and you can pen it with pretty much anything you shoot it with, as long as you're not tier 6 or something like that. There is some zones in the gun mantlet where the armor is 700, 400 and shit like that. So there is some stalling in there, but right next to the gun is quite weak. So if you need to shoot the hull down IS-6, that's the one place you can do it. Other than that, you have 30 roof armor. If you expose this, then you're gonna get penetrated. This means that everything above 90 mil is gonna be able to auto pen you, so you should try to hide this if possible. Same goes with the cupolas. They are 150 armor, but they are really flat, so you can't really bounce much with those. There is some ridiculous armor zones here as well, but if you hit these flat, you will pen it most likely. When it comes to the side, 100 side armor angled the same as the front, and you have some spaced bullshit here as well. So if you need some 200-300 side armor, here it is. Just depends on the angling, but yeah, the tank is reasonably good at side scraping. The problem with that is that these shoulder plates are quite weak when you start side scraping, so you want to move a lot and want to deny easy shots into these shoulder plates if you can. Other than that, I mean, the side of the turret is even 150, so a reasonably angled side of the turret is actually really tough to pen for pretty much any tank in the game. When it comes to everything else, I don't think there's much to say. We're comparing the soft stats to the 112, so let's have a quick look into that. So as we see, green. This is just better. There's no doubt about it. The gun is better. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Apart from the only downside of the IS-6 over the Chinese counterparts is that this does not get the 250 pen heat. It gets the 212 pen APCR or something like that. So that is slightly worse. The gun depression -6 is decent enough, and elevation 20 is just fine. Horsepower per ton 13, reasonably good. The substats is slightly worse than on the Chinese counterparts, so it's reasonably mobile. The tank, for the armor it carries, is ridiculously fast, though. That has to be said. Other than that, I'm pretty sure we're good to go in some gameplay. So here's the game, playing on Northwest. As we can see, it is a tier 9 game, but the enemy tier 9s are not heavy tanks. They have a T4, which is pretty much a heavy tank, but it's not that bad. But again, before we get into all the action, let's look at the stats real quick. Well, we start off with 1550 hit points, slightly better than on the rest of the tier 8 premiums. The rest of them get around 1500, so not a real big difference, but it is there. 440 meter signal range, which actually can become annoying at some bigger maps, but I mean, at these tiers it shouldn't be that much of a problem. Speed limits forwards 35 kilometers an hour, actually worse than on the 112 by 10 kilometers. That's actually quite a difference. 14 backwards, not great, but not horrible either. At least it's not 12, which is what all the Americans are stuck at. Horsepower per ton 13.59, better than on the 112, but the soft stats are slightly worse, as you saw. It's way better than on the T34 though. And when we come to the view range, 350, really bad compared to the 112. right up there with the T-34 though. 31st 24 degrees per second, which is what you kind of expect from a tank like this. When it comes to the gun, 390 alpha, 175 pen, pretty much the regular 122mm Russian gun. Really nice DPM though. Stock values 2000 DPM is quite healthy for a gun of this caliber. And why the IS-6 is better than the 112? Because it has 10% more DPM than the 112. When it comes to the accuracy, the guns are exactly identical on both of these tanks. 0.46 accuracy and 3.4 second aiming time, which is quite ferocious, but then again, you should be used to it. The -6 gun depression, plus 20 elevation. I mean, you should be used to it if you have played any Russian tanks, really. But yeah, what really makes this apart from the 112 is the fact that you have no weak spots for the lower tier tanks to shoot you really at, and the gun, the DPM is just so much better. It really makes a difference here. And the 112 doesn't really have anything over this tank apart from the good gold pen, but then again, you don't really want to shoot all that much gold rounds when you play this tank. And here we have a WZ-111, the reward tank you got for doing the missions quite a while back, and there's no real way he's gonna pen that if he doesn't load his heat. And here, pretty much the easiest thing to do in IS-6 is just use the terrain to your advantage and side-scrape the crap out of the enemy team. That's pretty much what I'll do this entire game. That's kind of what you want to do in an IS-6 for the entire game. And here, I bounce off. I didn't really hit his cupola. He loaded the heat. You could hear it for the pal he shot behind me. The T-69 actually took a heat shot right in the face. And yeah, he just presents his ammo rack right at me, and I get one-shot kill on him. That's also a thing about the IS-6 being better than the 112. That usually doesn't really happen in an IS-6. The driver is right at the front, and you don't really want to show your side at that angle to anyone in tanks like these, and it's way better protected in an IS-6, the ammo rack, than it is in the 112. And here the type is just happy to shoot my tracks, and I'm happy for him to shoot my tracks. It doesn't really matter for me at all. So equipment choice on this tank has to be rammer, vert stabs, and either ventilation or gun length drive. It depends on how comfortable you are with the gun. And since it's a premium tank, the crew doesn't really matter all that much. If a type wants to present his side like that, I'll just happily pen that as well. And now we're running into problems. I mean, in this angle, I'm not going to bounce the Type 61. There's just no way in hell. But this was a bit unlucky. The Type drove right in front of the shot I was taking. The Type would have been penetrated there for sure. This position is extremely nice for me. It allows me to take pretty good shots here. And I get a penetration on the Type, but sadly we trade shots. And that's not really good for me because there's still 2 more enemies left apart from that guy, so I need to conserve my health, or at least try to as best as I can. That was also a bit unfortunate. I hit the front plate of the Type instead of the side, which obviously didn't result in the penetration. And the Type again showing his open side to me, doesn't penetrate, and I get another damaging shot into him. Like you can see the potential here. The sidearm is so ridiculous that you obviously have to hope that your enemies don't really aim really well at you, and then here shot into the side of Centurion. And like I am facing their tier 9s here, which isn't really what you want. You don't really want to face these tanks that has 250 pen, but you can still get around that because you have that insane alpha damage. 390 is really healthy even after when fighting tier 9s, and this is gonna be an easy pen. Yeah, but it doesn't have enough armor in that spot to bounce me there. And I get a free damage once again. And that's a lot of damage you do in this tank. And the Type has switched to HE, which I don't really mind. The Centurion gives me a free kill as well. And like, this tank just harasses the enemies. Obviously, the only reason why I could do this because I had those 2 guys backing me up, which I should be thankful for. But then again, the punishment I took in this game is ridiculous for a tier 8 heavy tank of the swords. And as I said, this is not the perfect matchup for me. I am fighting 2 of their tier 9 mediums with the highest pen in their team, so it's not like I am like having an easy time here, but still, the tank has such insanely good potential when fighting these tanks that it definitely is worth the money you pay for it. Can you afford it is a different question, and that was a weird bug, but hey, whatever. The question is obviously if you can afford it, it definitely is worth the grind, and might argue that it's not the most exciting tank to play, but it's because the gameplay is quite simple for this. You just drive up close to people, try to sidescrape and shoot them in the face, and try to make them shoot your ridiculous armor, side armor or something like that. So it's not like the tank is like super exciting to play, but if you like heavy tanks, if you like the heavy tank gameplay, if you like the Russian heavy tank gameplay, this is really really good tank. There's no doubt about it. It makes really good credits. The problem is the shell cost is quite high, so it doesn't make as much money as you could imagine. Maybe if you played like a Type or an FCM or a Yak Tiger 88, because those shells cost like 200 per shot, but this is quite a bit more expensive. But yeah, in my opinion, this is vastly superior to the Chinese premium, just because the only upside the Chinese premium gets is the heat shells, and as I said, you don't really want to spam gold anyway, so it doesn't really matter all that much. And the difference between this and the Chinese tanks is that this doesn't have giant lower plate weak spot. If I was in the 112 or the 111, I would have died there for sure. There was no way all of those people would not just shut my lower plate over and over and killed me, but in this case they could not. So here's the end plate. Ace tanker, high caliber, steel wall, 5,341 damage done, 394 assisted, 4,586 experience. Made 126k credits, and there was no missions involved in this. But to really sum it up, the IS-6 is pretty much the best value for the 12k gold you can get. It is vastly superior, in my opinion, to tanks like the T-34, because it's less situational, it's faster, the gun is good for what it needs to do, because the tank has preferential matchmaking. When you are bottom tier, you don't really want to face those E-75s. That might be a problem, and when you do face them, you don't really have a lot of options. But if you're top tier, this tank just demolishes the enemies. As you could see here, I only blocked 1.1k with armor, but there were so many shots that went into my tracks that that number should have been way higher. Obviously lucky with the ammo work, but even without that, this game would have been reasonably good for me. And the fact that I fought their tier 9 mediums for quite a while as well, hits received 13, is a really good result for the IS-6. Obviously not every game is going to be as good as this one, but the tank has extremely high potential. It's simple to play, just get in there, shoot people in the face and get out. And it is quite rewarding, as you can see. It's not, as I mentioned, the shell cost is quite high, but if you manage to at least connect half of them, you're gonna make good profit anyways. The only reason why I would recommend the Chinese premiums over this one is if you are only interested in Chinese heavy tanks, and it's gonna be, the tank is still worse, but it's gonna be better for you to practice the lower, hiding the lower plate, because all the Chinese heavies have that weak spot, so the faster you learn to deal with that, the better, and it is limiting your capabilities by quite a lot. But yeah, that's the IS-6. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. IS-6 totally worth the gold, and I will see you on the next one.